Hello everybody and welcome to Amphlett Reviews, back on another Kinji Fukasaku deep dive into some more Japanese cinema. As mentioned in previous videos, I'm doing a kind of explorative series talking about Kinji Fukasaku's kind of very early beginnings during the 60s, leading up to some of his big entries within the Battle of Honor collection, which is quite extensive. The aim for these videos is to kind of explore these films, see if there's any kind of hidden gems in there, identify their signature, and to see my thoughts and opinions as I go along, and to get a bigger understanding of Japanese culture and cinema, and through this amazing director as well, and just kind of see if there's any specific ones there that I think are truly outstanding. And we are still on 1966 Rampaging Dragon of the North, or a secondary title called The North Sea Dragon, if I'm saying correctly. This was released around the same time as, or just after, maybe before, of The Threat, which I have previously done for, and this one I watched on digital. I'm surprised this one doesn't have a Radiance release. I can see this one definitely getting a kind of physical release down the line. Jumping straight into this one for you guys, our main protagonist character has returned back after 3 years after having a falling out with his father. Basically, he's kind of left and abandoned this kind of small town kind of, fishing community, this very small kind of, village, little section. He's kind of go off to explore life, and he's come back to basically make amends and to basically trying to fix the wrongs a little bit of what happened between him and his father. The character itself is very kind of obnoxious at times, very cheeky. He's definitely got some life experience, someone very young, ambitious, hungry, but also is very proud. He's definitely part of that new generation of, in terms of, Japan. And, again, Kinji Fukasaku exploring more about youth and about the kind of the new wave of generations coming in. A very deliberate attitude of this kind of like, you can't tell me what to do, you can't control me, you can't own me. And has returned back to this village and found his father has already passed away through various means. There is a very nasty, very aggressive Yakuza gang. Of course, there's Yakuza in this film, which basically is terrorizing the kind of the fisher community village, which is basically paying them really terrible wages, controlling the docks, the ports, controlling all of the profits, and basically kind of, dominating and kind of controlling this life of this community, and basically being the number one of that kind of area. I don't know what means exactly. They don't have an opposition in terms of a rival kind of gang or kind of ports. They're just, for some reason, this Yakuza gang likes the control, likes the power, and character, the son of the Yakuza boss, which also was in the Threat as well, which is quite returning actor in this one as well. Singular kind of rifle weapon, basically a shotgun, and he basically uses that to kind of, take out anyone he wants, or to kind of threaten people and to kind of bully people into submission. And it's a film which basically tackles the idea of community, and it's up to our main protagonist character to kind of figure out what the Yakuza want and to form a plan to recapture the spirit of the community again, and to basically go against the Yakuza in one massive blow, which happens towards the third act of the film. Actually a pretty unique kind of idea and concept. One, in terms of location wise, it's something quite different than we've seen up to this point in terms of the early 60s. We've got I guarantee very much a not on location kind of filming. In terms of an actual port, they probably had access to some really unique kind of location shooting in terms of some of the mostly outside for most of the film, in terms of the huts and the kind of landscape, and they clearly had a block of land which they basically managed to film this in, and you definitely got the feeling that it is definitely a local town community. It is people actually living there, living their lives, earning money for the kind of the fish they're bringing in. And the film itself is actually quite impressive. I think it's actually quite a different type of movie. Even so, you've got the traditional kind of Yakuza element, his kind of signature kind of style, but you've also got this really kind of unique kind of social kind of commentary, this kind of like kind of soft drama, controlling basically the ins and outs of kind of like the docks and the kind of the fishing and the profits. And they're destroying all the huts, they're kind of throwing fish back in the water, they're beating their staff. Very needless acts of aggression and violence for no real reason. You're kind of affecting their bottom line essentially. There's even a scene in the film where they're basically saying, we're going to pay you this much, and they're saying, well, we can't live off that, you're paying us less than the minimum wage essentially, to do all the hard work to get all this fish in and to kind of sell it, package it, all that kind of stuff. And it's just kind of really bizarre to me, the fact they would go out their way so much to be absolute pricks, which adds to the kind of villainous of kind of the Yakuza characters and the entitlement and the kind of the villainous of them. And you've got some quite unique characters in the film. I think everyone's quite defined in terms of the community, in terms of some of the small locals you have. You've got a semi-love interest, but even our main protagonist character is someone who's quite likable to the most part. He's definitely very arrogant. He's definitely much a prick himself. Someone who is deliberately left that community to go and find his own kind of path, essentially, to go and have some experience, to go and have some walks of life and come back. And, you know, he's taking that experience and taking that kind of attitude with him, that kind of youthful kind of energy. All this leading up to a very traditional kind of third act where all hell breaks loose and basically the town's had enough and they're going to take up arms and they're going to go against the Yakuza once and for all and kind of fight for their land, fight for their freedom and fight for their kind of self-respect. And I kind of like that. I kind of appreciate that. I wouldn't say this is Kinji Fukasaku's best film by any means, but I definitely think it's a film that definitely deserves a bit more attention and something maybe that could be worth having a discussion over. Absolutely, I think it's definitely quite a unique film. And again, being the fact I'm quite a few films into his filmography now, I'm starting to see different sides of this director in terms of the scripts, in terms of the characters, even though there are his traditional kind of signature and how he kind of operates these films, how he puts them together. He's offering something a little different each time, very similar to kind of Hong Kong cinema, having the traditional kind of martial arts films or the swordsman movies or the category 3 films, whatever you want to say. You know, it's just different spins on the same kind of idea, and while it has the traditional kind of revenge element, the traditional kind of Yakuza stuff, it has something quite unique and special that makes it stand out a bit more compared to some of the others. A really nice little film that I think is definitely worth checking out. Hopefully this will get a nice little edition down the line from one of the kind of distributors. So yeah, what are your thoughts and opinions on Rampaging Dragon of the North or North Sea Dragon? Please comment down below. What are your thoughts and opinions on this series so far? What is your favourite Kinji Fukasaku film that you cannot wait for me to check out? Maybe for the first time, please comment down below. So in the meantime guys, Amphlett Reviews,